people as
Wow. Okay. That's new. I was not expecting that, to say it so loudly. But yes, so the meeting is being recorded so that we have everything that Anna shares with us tonight, and we'll be able to share it with other people and bless them. So, Brianna, so sorry, you were saying that Christians, for the most part, are being represented well in the media.
And then the other like little part is like they're kind of not, because in at the same place these other people are, like they'll be commenting on like Christian videos and it'll be like, I'm Muslim, like can you just stop, like Christians aren't good people and like there's no purpose for them and stuff like that. So that's just like really harmful. I feel like it's not like good to say that, like it's not good representing of Christians. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, who would you like to pick? I know Elena has a few things to say about that.
Okay, Elena.
Elena, do you want to answer that same question, or do you want to skip to the next one?
Sure, I'll do this one.
Okay. So
So
how do
I
you?
feel like
Yeah.
a majority of us represent ourselves well, but then there's also that part that don't like have limits, so they like cross it, and then people see us as bad people.
Like, what's that limit that you're talking about? How do they cross that limit?
Like on TikTok, there's people from other religions, and a lot of Christians will comment under their videos stuff that has nothing to do with them.
Thank you so much. Okay, who would you like to pick next?
Lillian.
Lillian.
Hello. I'll skip.
Okay. When do you feel distant from God?
Oh, probably when, probably like if there's like some weeks where I haven't read my Bible a lot or prayed a lot, and I feel like that makes you distant. Because sometimes, especially during the school year and when AP exams are close, like I spend my entire day studying and then I go on my phone for like 15 minutes and then go to sleep. And instead of going on my phone, I could probably read the Bible, but I get distracted a lot. And that happens during the school year. During the summertime, I feel like is when it's the best because I have a lot of free time so I can read my Bible the most. But during the school year, especially like I come home later because I'm in a sport and then I have to start homework and then eat dinner, like I feel like then it's really difficult.
Thank you so much. You know what's interesting is that when you go to camp, Christian camp, you've got the amazing sermons, and the worship, and the fellowship, and the games, but there's a part of me sometimes at the end of the camp, the weekend, where I feel like, oh wow, I actually didn't really spend alone time with you, God. And so it was always so ironic for me that we've gone to a Christian camp, but I personally didn't have that one-on-one, time with God. And so it's always so important to constantly ask yourself or feel that lack. And that could happen at all times. Sometimes it happens within a group of believers. So when you have that experience, you start longing for it and thirsting for it. Okay, Lillian, who would you like to pick next?
I'll go with I'm looking at who has.
And you can pick Anna and Christine. By the way, you guys can answer any of the questions that have been asked so far. So you're not, limited to this or to the next one. It could be any question.
Okay,
So there's Samuel, Anella, Emily, Goris, Anna, Christina, Sonia.
I'll go with Christina.
Christina.
Hi. Can you repeat I have so many questions. What was just the question we just answered?
When do you feel distant from God?
Oh yeah. It doesn't change the older you get. You still get I feel like I feel the most distant from God when I get swamped with all the work that needs to be done. And then it's not even necessarily like if I don't read my Bible, because there will be days where I, for example, will just feel present or kind of like talk to God without having like read my Bible that day. But I think it's when I'm like too busy in the day to even like think or pray to God or any of that stuff, I'm like completely forgetting about his presence, I think is when I'm like super, super busy in the stuff that I have to get done on that day. So
wow,
I feel like it just gets more and more crazy. And I'm just like, you're just talking about, like, as you start adulting, it just gets like more things to do that naturally will take up your every second of your time during the day. So
thank
you have to
so
like
much.
conscious of it. Yeah.
Thank you. And sometimes, what's amazing is that in the past, I have felt distant from God when I was so, and with God. And let me explain. And the reason why I remembered this is because Christina introduced me to an app. I think it was like within the Bible app, and it was like this series where it would teach you or schedule you to read the Bible. And that started me reading the Bible like for a certain amount of minutes every day. And so every day I would just have that set time and I would read. And if I fell behind, I would get really anxious about it. And I would get really nervous. And I would say, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to do this again. So here I am spending time with God. But what I did not realize is that I was, being so legalistic, I was forcing myself to spend time with God. And as soon as my timer finished, I was out of there. And someone who loves you, who doesn't want to see you limiting the time that you're spending with them, someone who loves you doesn't want you to just, fly out of there the first chance you get. So I felt like I was spending time with God, but I was really just spending time within the restrictions, to make myself feel better. But when I stopped doing that, it actually made me feel so much closer to God. So everyone has a different experience and a journey. That was mine. But Christina, you get to pick somebody else. You have Samuel, Anella, Emily, Goris, Anna, and Sonia. And we have another special guest, Surly and Sharik have joined us.
It was a duo. And like, you'll get
And
a
another special guest is joining us, brother Arman.
Arman. I will pick one of the Emilys. I know there's two.
Okay, Emily A.
Okay.
Was one of the questions, are Christians represented well?
Yes.
Kind of like what Brianna was saying, I would say yes and no, because on social media, some Christians are being kind of attacked because a lot of people are saying enforcing religion when they're just trying to spread the gospel, and a lot of people just target Christians for no reason. But some of the Christians kind of, in a way, I feel like they're not really forcing religion, but they're kind of scaring some people away. But they really don't mean to do that. So I'd just say yes and no to that.
Thank you so much. And Lillian, you wanted to share something that was relating to how we sometimes feel farthest from God. We are actually the closest to him. Do you have that post that you can share with us?
I tried finding it. I saw it on Instagram like 2 months ago. But when you said how when you felt like farthest from God, he was actually the closest to you, like he was by your side even more. And I feel like that's true. Like when you're going through something, whatever it is, God is always like closer to you. I mean, he's always close to you, but like to remind you that he's there. But I saw this post that it was this guy and he was looking through his binoculars and it was all black as if he was looking for God. He was like, I can't find him. And when he took it off, he saw that his binoculars were pointing at God's like cloth that he was wearing. And it's saying that God's always there even if you can't see him. He's really close to you. That's why.
That's beautiful. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. Emily A., who would you like to pick next?
I'll pick the other Emily.
Oh, okay. The coalition of the Emilys. Emily G.
I'll answer the question about when do I feel like not as close to God. I was gonna say it's kind of just a simple answer. It's not anything complicated, but I feel like when I don't pray enough, I just don't feel as close to him because I think prayer is like important to me and a lot of people. It's like our main way of communicating with him. So
Amen.
yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, who's next? I'll pick for you. How about Samuel?
So for the question about feeling farthest from God, I feel like if I read my Bible every day, not because I want to, just because I just do it, I feel like it's almost like it gets repetitive. It gets repetitive and meaningless that you're just, okay, I read the Bible, read one chapter of the Bible, I'm done. Okay. It's like, it kind of gets meaningless to me. So I feel farther away from God. So
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's almost like it becomes a habit, right? A dead habit. Samuel, who would you like to pick? We have Anela, Goris, Anna, Sonia, Armin, Serli, Sharik.
Goris.
Goris, sir, brother.
Okay. Yes. So what were the questions?
Yeah.
Again?
When do you feel distant from God? How do you feel about the way Christians are represented in the media? Or you can skip to the next one.
Oh, okay. When so I'll answer when when I feel the most distant from God. So it's kind of similar to what Christina said. So whenever I get I get super busy with work, school, that's when I kind of start feeling it, because I'm so focused on my work that I kind of start forgetting kind of forgetting to read my Bible and having that peace of mind and being in peace. So I think when I'm too busy, that's when I start feeling distant from God.
Thank you so much. And Arvin says, I would suggest not to drive and Zoom, but
No, I'm not holding the phone. Yeah.
All right, Goris, who would you like to pick next? We have Anela, Anna, Sonia, Armin, Serli, Sharik.
I'll pick Anna.
Anna.
Aye, Captain. I think I want to switch the question, and then if I don't like it, I'll answer one of
Well, no, if you go behind door number 3, you have to answer door number 3. And I've had my eye on this one question. Are you sure?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Do you believe God is pleased with how your parents raised you?
Oh, man. Ask my parents.
Yes.
Ask my parents. I don't know. Ask God. Next time.
I've got another one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because we all know, God would be pleased. If Jesus watched television, what would be his favorite show?
That is hilarious. Huh. If Jesus watched television.
Would it be weird for him to watch a self-documentary?
What?
Oh, that's funny.
That are about himself? Is that
I bet.
weird?
No, I don't think so, because I don't think he would. I don't know why. For some reason, part of me thinks he would watch some documentary on world hunger or something. I don't know, some things that's going on in the world, so he can go help them. What would Jesus watch? That's such a good question. I don't know.
Grey's Anatomy, definitely Grey's Anatomy, because Grey's Anatomy is about saving people. I mean, it's a drama show, but still they save some people. So definitely Grey's Anatomy.
Sure.
I love that.
Maybe he'd want to know what people are he'd want to get to know what people want to know. So maybe he would watch the most popular shows just to get to know humanity better.
I love it. I
I
think that's what he would watch too. Keeping up with the Kardashians, Elena. You never know, maybe. Anna, who would you like to pick next? Anela, Sonia, Armen, Serli, or Sharik? Gori says friends.
Okay, I don't think I've met. Oh, I love Friends. Okay, sorry. I don't think I've met Anella, so I would love to hear from her.
Anela.
Unless I have, and I'm sorry if I haven't. I don't remember.
Hi, I'll answer the question about when I feel most distance. Probably when I'm like stressed out or worried, because I know that takes like a lot of attention away. And then when I'm stressed out, worried, sometimes I won't have time to read the Bible, so that could be one factor.
Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. Anela, okay, who would you like to pick next? Sonia, Armen, Serli, or Sharik?
I'll choose Sonia.
Sonia,
Hello. What's the question?
you tell me. You can skip, you can answer, when do you feel distant from God? Or how do you feel about the way Christians are represented in the media? Or do you believe God is pleased with how your parents raised you? Or if Jesus watched television, what would be his favorite show?
Probably the one about how Christians are represented in the media.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really have any type of social media unless Pinterest really counts, but it's literally pictures, so I honestly don't think it counts. But like from what I've seen, for the most part, like they're sort of all stereotyped and funneled into, oh, they're really good people. They won't commit any crimes. I don't know about you guys, but like I'm thinking Ned Flanders from The Simpsons is like, that's like your classic Christian guy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, like they're all just sort of seen as they're a great person. Oh, and like they'll forgive me, like no matter what I do, and they'll still be my best friend.
Hey,
Yeah.
Homer. Everything is whoop-de-doo peachy keen. Right? That's Ned Flanders? Yeah.
Like, almost exactly.
Yeah. All right, Sonia, let me go to that pick, the next people. Oh, unless you want to pick, you have
Sorry,
Armen,
hold on 1
Serli.
second.
Okay, so let's go with Serli.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
How are you guys?
You can see the number of how we're all feeling next to our names on a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, is that what that is? I was asking Shabik. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how we're all feeling.
Yes.
That's so cool.
So how are you guys
so
feeling?
Cool.
Serli, how are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10?
From 1 to 10, I think I'm at a 7 right now.
7 is good. And how about you, Sharik?
I think between 7 and 8, maybe 7.5.
See, that's why you guys are cousins. You and Anna. You guys have the same range.
Oh, okay. 7 to 8. Okay. What was the question?
When do you feel the distant from God?
When do I feel distant from God?
Yes. Another question is, if Jesus watched television, what would be his favorite show?
So a super, super deep question and a very not super deep question. Interesting. When do I feel farthest from God? I think when I feel that I'm not in sync with the believers around me is when I feel farthest. When I feel like either I am lacking something or carrying something undesirable. So that's when I think I feel farthest. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you so much. Okay,
Thank you.
Sharik, you're next.
Okay. What other questions are there?
You have what? So if Jesus watched television, what would be his favorite show? When do you feel distant from God? How do you feel about the way Christians are represented in the media?
Oh, okay. In the media. That's an interesting question, actually. Here's what I've seen. I've seen movies and other. Are you talking about like movies or social media and stuff?
Anywhere. Movies, social media, TV, news.
Different. I've seen some very judgmental posts. I've seen other posts that encourages or it shows the love. But I've seen both types, and it's very interesting how I've never, not never, it hasn't been, like a lot of times that I've seen the balanced, it's either very encouraging or very
one end of the spectrum. Yeah, one, it's very black and white. You're right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Kellen and Talia, you guys are the last two.
Yeah, sorry, what was the question?
Question was, when do you feel distant from God? Or if Jesus watched television, what would be his favorite show?
I feel like when I'm most distant with God is during school, because I'm so focused on like my tests and like doing my homework. So like I don't have time to do like pray and read the Bible and stuff.
Thank you so much. Yeah, like Christina and Goris and Kellen.
I feel distant from him whenever I'm not getting something that I desperately need. It's not like, oh, I want this, I want that. It's something I actually need. And then staying so patient for that, and then I don't see it's happening. I feel like, what's going on?
Thank you so much, guys, for all of your answers. So, I'm really excited to move to the next section of tonight, which is our guest speaker, Anna. And I've known Anna since I walked into the very first class that I ever taught on Sundays. And Anna, I think it's safe to say that we've both come a long way. But one thing that I remember vividly is how you listened. There were a lot of other kids who were like all over the place. They had opinions and this and that, but you listened, and you observed and you absorbed. And I think that's one of the reasons why you've been able to come such a long way, to become such a leader who now gives back to the community over and over again. And as a vessel, God tells us, we need to be filled first, right? And in order to feed. And Anna has always followed through whatever she committed to with Flying Colors. And she has led Christmas programs. She's done worship for both youth and the young adults, and many other programs in and outside of CAC. And I'm really proud to call you an incredible sister in Christ. So here's your bio. I want to share that with everybody before I pass over the mic. But you finished your 5th year as a PhD student in clinical psychology at Fuller Theological Seminary. Along with your studies in psychology, you recently received her master's degree in theology. And after finishing her undergraduate program in psychology with minors in Armenian studies and education studies from UCLA, she decided to follow her passions for psychology and theology and take on a journey to better understand how the two can be integrated to serve individuals and the church. And I love that, because this is something that we have said, as we talk about anxiety, it's one thing we have stressed, pun intended, that we may know certain people who've had to take anti-anxiety medication, and those people, we may be some of those people, we may know those people, right? They're scared of coming to church because they're thinking, what are they going to think? Maybe they will say that I'm not a real Christian. I'm not Christian enough. My faith is not strong enough. And that's why I have to rely on things outside of the Bible. But if you've ever had to go to a therapist or a psychologist or take anti-anxiety medication, it's important to understand that you're not a second-class citizen of the kingdom of our Lord. And Jesus loves and welcomes everybody. And God uses all sorts of ways to help his children flourish and thrive, including the help of a qualified doctor, which our amazing sister Anna is now, I think, almost done with, and you're going to become a doctor very, very soon.
Yeah, in next year this time, hopefully.
Yes. So we all have our own walks, and we can all learn from each other's experiences. And speaking of experiences, Anna loves working with children and families. And Anna, if I'm not wrong, on many occasions you and Ninette have actually offered to babysit my children and arsonist children. So I thought that you were kidding all the time. I think, Christina, you were part of the, babysitting clan, but now here's proof. This is in her bio. And currently, Anna works with children and adolescents with severe OCD at UCLA's Child OCD Intensive Outpatient Program. I used to have OCD when I was a kid. Anna has served in various youth and worship ministries in the area, including at CAC. Anna loves her family and friends and has a passion for learning, music, singing, Armenian dancing, and just connecting with people. And she thinks Shervin is such a cool, funny, awesome person. I added that part, but if you like it, you can make that part of your permanent bio. She looks forward to finding out ways she can continue to serve both within and outside the church in the years to come. Guys, let's all give a big virtual round of applause to Anna. Anna, thank you for being here. And
thanks, Shervin, and thank you everyone for having me. I'm really, really excited to be here. Just a little disclosure that when I first moved to the US, I was in 8th grade and Shervin was my first teacher in junior high. It was Shervin and Elise. And yeah, good times. I still remember certain activities we did together, like mix eggs and sugar together. So yeah, if he hasn't done that with you guys, I'm sure he will at some point. Yeah, so thanks, Shervin, for introducing me and for inviting me. I want to be really annoying and see if you guys can turn on your cameras, but if you can't, that's okay. It would just be really cool because we're going to do some activities together too. So if you can, it'd be great, but I don't want to be forcing you if you don't want to. So, oh, hi, Armin. Okay, so I have a little bit of presentation prepared, but I also want us to have a very interactive session together. So I'll ask questions, we'll do some activities together. So yeah, if we can participate, that'd be great. And if we don't have volunteers, maybe I'll ask Shervin to flip the wheel one more time and call on people that way. That might be good. Okay, so I'm gonna share this. Let's see. Okay, do you guys see it? Wonderful.
Yeah.
So Shervin asked me to give a little quick introduction, pictures of who I am. This is me, this is my family, this is my little brother who's taller than me now, which is weird, but that's okay. My mom and dad, we all moved to America and then came to CAC straight. It's been wonderful having CAC as a family, even though we've all kind of, because of life and work and stuff, we've had to, go to different places. We still consider CAC home. So it's great to be with you guys again. Just a little bit about my education. As Shervin said, I got my undergrad at UCLA. Loved it very much, studied psychology and then Armenian studies, education. Loved it very much. And then right after, I wanted to go to Fuller Graduate School of Psychology to study clinical psychology. And the reason why I chose Fuller was because I thought they did a really cool job of integrating. Like if you see this picture here, it's a cross in the middle of a psych sign. It's the sign is a psychology sign, and there's a cross in the middle, and their mission is to integrate theology and psychology and to help others, not just based on psychological science, but also pay attention to spirituality and how that can how the two can come together. So that's a little bit about my education. I've worked with kids and families the past few years. Right now I'm working with kids with OCD. Last year I worked with kids who had like learning disabilities, teenagers who wanted to get accommodations at schools, ADHD, all this kinds of things. The previous year I was at Pepperdine University working with university students. And then before that I was at a clinic on my campus working with as young as 4-year-old to as old as 60-year-old. So that was really fun too. Very variety of patients that I worked with. I am not licensed yet, so this is just information. I am not qualified to give any, life anything yet, but this is just psychoeducation, just information that I've learned the past few years. And I'm just sharing with you guys. If any of you do need help, I have some resources that I've put at the end, and you can contact me and I can refer you to someone. But as of right now, I am not licensed yet, and but I can help provide resources and things like that. So just to put that out there. Okay, let's see. Shervin asked me to talk about mindfulness today, anxiety and mindfulness. And I wanted to talk about mindfulness. Is my thing blocking the, do you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So I wanted to talk about anxiety and mindfulness and focusing on the present. Okay, so the present, it's kind of like a pun, gift called the present. So that's my little title for today. And then let's see, it's kind of hard doing Zoom and that at the same time. Okay, all right. Shervin, if I don't see any like raising hands or anything, let me know. I had to minimize people up there. Okay, so let's see. So most of us have probably experienced some level of stress or anxiety at some point in our life, probably as students, as sisters, as friends. Have you guys felt stressed or anxious ever in your life? Yeah, can someone open their mic and tell me what stresses you guys out?
Like school and worrying about, oh, hey, am I gonna get a good grade? What else?
Definitely.
Keeping up with chores, keeping up with friends.
Definitely. Anything else?
My family.
Family, chores, school, grades. What else?
Specifically tests for school.
Tests for school, yep.
The future.
The future, yep. Anything else? Yeah, so we've all experienced stress at some point in our life, and we probably know what anxiety feels like. And I wanted to start with a little bit of a verse and then challenge it a bit, okay? So we often hear verses like this, which I love this verse, by the way. It got me through college. But do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God. What do you guys think when you hear verses like this? Like, do not be afraid. As Shervin says, there's 365 times of don't be afraid. What do you guys think about when you hear that? How do you feel when you hear a verse about don't be anxious?
I guess like it just says don't be anxious, but you can't necessarily just stop being anxious like on point. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes. Stole my thunder. Perfect. Anyone else?
I remember God's promise and something like Brianna said. I was gonna say how, we can't always not be anxious, but he's saying, give it to me. Like, whenever you do feel anxious, come to me because I want to give you peace. He doesn't expect you not to ever be anxious or feel stressed, because even Jesus went through that in his life when he was on earth. He went through stress. He went through times where he felt anxious and things like that. But it's not a sin to feel that way, obviously. But when you do feel that way, you should go to God and ask for peace and to help. And
I love this. You guys are fantastic. Shervin, I love the honesty in this group. It's amazing. Very great. Okay. Exactly, guys. So sometimes, I don't know if you felt this way, but I sometimes, like, if someone says, oh, just don't worry, just God is with you, don't be anxious. Sometimes my initial reaction is, it's easier said than done. What do you expect me to do? Like, and like Shervin said, sometimes when we are anxious, when we are stressed out, constantly worried, we might start thinking, oh my gosh, maybe I'm not a good enough Christian. Maybe I shouldn't go to church. Maybe, kind of like what Shervin said, if someone's going to therapy or taking medication for that, they might feel like, oh no, maybe I'm not being a good enough Christian. And I've seen that so much in my work with clients. When I've worked with Christian clients, people who are religious, they'll come in addition to feeling anxious and depressed, they also feel so much guilt and so much shame for feeling depressed or anxious, because we're like, oh no, why is it that I don't have joy in the world? Why is it that in the Lord? Why is it that I don't have peace? Why is it that maybe I'm a bad Christian? Maybe I'm not reading my Bible enough. So we kind of take on all these pressures and start feeling even worse about ourselves. We'll come back to this verse at the end, having talked about everything, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about anxiety and what that is. And in fact, anxiety on its own is a normal reaction in our body. It's a normal reaction to danger. So let's go to the next page. Okay, it's a normal reaction to danger. So the body has an automatic fight or flight response, okay? So imagine that you are in a forest. We always use this example. You're in a forest and a gigantic bear comes right in front of you. Now, some people, like Sarah, would probably want to go hug this bear, but most people would probably be afraid and have a fight or flight response, like either like freeze or want to like do something to, fight the bear or something like that, or fly, like get away, run away, do whatever they can to get out of that situation, right? And our body creates like anxious response within us, because when we're under pressure, when we feel threatened, and I can show you in a bit in the next slide about how our body helps us in those situations. Okay. In certain situations, for example, look at this. Our body, when we are really we're faced with a threatening situation, we can have, let's say, breathe quicker. Okay, heart starts beating fast, and these physical changes that we go through actually help our body react to anxious situations. So for example, if you're faced with this bear and your heart starts beating fast, then there will be more blood pumped into your muscles and it will enhance your ability to run away or fight. So technically, God has made us in a way so that our body reacts to threatening situations so that we are able to respond. We're able to run, we're able to fight, we're able to survive that situation. Now, we know that it's normal to have certain reactions in our body and feelings in our heart, but when it becomes problematic is when we feel anxious when there isn't a threatening situation, when we feel anxious when it's constant, it's overwhelming, and it starts interfering with our daily relationships and activities. Does that make sense, guys? So anxiety on its own is normal. It's our normal physiological response to our surroundings, that God has given us the ability to react in certain situations, but it becomes a problem when it's misplaced. And we react that way in situations that aren't called for, or when we react more extremely, or it's constant, okay? So that's a little background information on anxiety and how it affects our body. There's different types of anxiety. There is the more generalized anxiety, so constant state of tension, worrying about things. There is social anxiety, so fear of speaking in public, other social situations, or there's more uncontrollable intrusive thoughts like OCD, like constantly having a thought stuck in your head. And then there's panic attacks, so anxiety attacks out of the blue. Even though there's absolutely nothing wrong happening, someone could have a panic attack out of nowhere. So we have different kinds of anxiety that people can be diagnosed with and need to seek help for. There's a little bit of stats. Anxiety is actually one of the most common mental health issues in America. And in fact, it affects women more than men. So 2-to-1 ratio of women are affected by anxiety twice as much. But the good thing is that it's highly treatable. And with therapy, with medication, it actually can be very treatable. And thinking about your age, if you look, the older kids get, when they get to adolescent years, their anxiety levels, woof, just shoot up, right? And I'm guessing being in high school plays a role, being in more challenging social situations plays a role, kind of the things that you guys mentioned, right? So that's a little information. Anxiety can affect our body, physical body as well. We can have back pain, we can have heartburn, we can have, chest pains. There was a time where I was having really bad chest pains and having a hard time breathing and all sorts of pains around my body. And I would call Christina. I'm like, Christina, what's wrong with me? Because she's our resident PA. And then we would realize, oh, this is probably anxiety affecting me. So yeah, anxiety can affect you in all sorts of ways. It can affect your health. In addition to your emotion, it can affect your health and body as well. So yeah, if it's extreme, it can definitely have negative impacts on us. So guys, when we feel stress or anxious or negative emotions or bad emotions, which one of you try to hide or suppress their emotions? Anyone amongst you who tries to hide or suppress their emotions? Yeah, okay, a couple of you raise your hands. All right, Samuel raised his hands. Yeah, some of us try to hide our emotions and try to act like we're fine. Try to be like, oh, oops. Okay, try to have like a smile on our face, kind of like this girl right here, pretending to smile even though she's probably feeling stressed underneath or sad underneath. Or we might try to push all our feelings aside, kind of like this guy who's trying to shove everything in. And pretend like, oh, nothing exists, everything's fine, everything's cool, So sometimes we do that when we're faced with anxiety or emotions that we don't like. Other times,
It's literally my living room.
Other times we might constantly start worrying about it. So we have to start overthinking, making our problems bigger, you can't stop thinking about it. Okay. Now, someone would say, just stop thinking about it. Who has heard that sentence? Just don't worry, just stop thinking about it. Yeah, I hate that sentence. Yeah, so many people say, just stop thinking about it. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry. Just don't worry. Just don't worry. And I'm like, how? How do you want me not to think about it, right? So I want us to do an activity together to see if we can actually stop our thoughts, okay? The next activity is called the white polar bear activity. Okay, do I have all of your attention? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So I would
Can I
like
get a round of applause for Anna so far from everyone? Let's see if, let me put my
Thank you. Right. Okay. Even if your camera's not on, I'm going to trust that you're going to do this with us, okay? So sometimes thoughts bother us over and over again, okay? Sometimes we try to stop them, but let's see if we can actually stop our thoughts, okay? Take a few deep breaths and let your mind settle. If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. And I want you to imagine a white polar bear. Think about a very large animal with white fur, dark eyes, standing very still looking at you. It's very fluffy, very white. Just think about it. Thinking about this white polar bear, a polar bear with thick white fur, okay? Just really imagine it. Really think about the details. Great. I'm going to give you some time to really picture this white polar bear. Now, I want you to clear your mind and don't think about the white polar bear. Okay, you can think of anything but not a white polar bear. You cannot think of the white polar bear. Okay, remember, no white polar bear. Okay, no polar bear that's white. Don't think about it. No white polar bear. If a white polar bear enters your mind, raise your hand. Yes. Thank you for the truth. Fantastic. Okay, what happened? You can open your eyes. What happened?
You kept telling us.
I'm not
White
sorry.
polar
Every
bear.
time you said white, I was like, dang it, Anna, stop saying white.
Thinking of a burger, and then Anna's like, do not think of the white polar bear. I'm like, bite into that burger.
Yes, yes. So that's kind of like when we try to tell ourselves to stop thinking about something, right? Like when we're worried about something, like just don't think about it. Just don't think about it. Obviously, you're going to think about it, right? So I want to offer you a different way of dealing with those situations. Okay. Now we know telling ourselves don't think about it doesn't work. So let's try to think of a different way we can approach this situation. Okay. Who has heard about mindfulness? Lillian, that's funny. Great. Okay. So who has heard about mindfulness, guys? What have you guys heard about mindfulness?
You're just supposed to be like super like still and like very relaxed.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of people define it as being relaxed, being still. Okay. What else? Oh, that's so cool, Sonia. Can you tell me anything that you've learned about mindfulness?
I mean, if you ask me, it wasn't. It was meh. I mean, it was occurring very frequently, but if you ask me, it wasn't all that much about mindfulness. Just sort of like, yeah, you know, like be mindful about yourself, how you're feeling.
Okay. Did they give you guys like activities and stuff, or tell you how to be mindful?
If there was, I don't really remember it because that was probably like way back in the beginning of school. I finished with school actually.
Oh, that's really cool. Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know schools are. I did do like 8-week long sessions in high schools, but I didn't know what district are you guys in?
GUSD.
Oh, that's really cool. That's awesome. Very cool. Okay, well, since you have heard about it, if at any point you think of something that I'm sharing that you know more about or you've heard about, let me know, okay?
All right.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so let's get into anyone else? Mindfulness, any other thoughts about mindfulness?
I know that when I was in PE class, they always said like be like mindful of like what activities you do.
Yeah. Yeah, we throw around that word a lot lately, don't we? We say be mindful of others, be mindful of this situation. Yeah. Good job, guys. So if you notice in the picture, it says mindful or mindful. So our mind can be full of all sorts of thoughts, or we can be mindful of our present. And what mindfulness is being what am I thinking? Okay. Observing, being in the present, okay, being in the present, observing our surroundings, and paying attention to our bodies, our thoughts, our emotions, and doing all of that non-judgmentally, okay? So being in the present and doing all of that non-judgmentally. Let's see. So learning to pay attention to the present moment, our bodies, our thoughts, and our feelings, and not judging them. How many of you have judged your thoughts in the sense that, like, if I feel anxious, sometimes I go, crap, I felt anxious again. Like, I'm doing this again. Who judges their thoughts or their feelings or yeah, a lot of us do this all the time, right? Mindfulness is about just noticing, being present, being aware, noticing, but not judging. Okay. So we're not trying to judge it. We're just trying to notice it. Also, another piece of mindfulness is doing all of this with compassion and kindness towards us. So it kind of goes along with the judgment piece of noticing, being aware, but also being kind about it. Like if I'm feeling anxious, that's okay. I'm just feeling anxious. If I'm feeling sad, that's okay. I'm feeling sad. I don't have to get mad at myself or, be upset with myself if I'm feeling these things. Okay. So that's a brief definition of mindfulness. Does anyone have any questions so far of what mindfulness is?
I'm really sorry. I actually have to go right now.
Okay, no worries. Nice having you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Does anyone have any questions so far?
I have a comment.
Yeah, what's up?
About the not judging. It's happened to me where, like, say I have a nightmare, and I start like rationalizing. Like, I know it's not real and all, but I judge myself for like not being able to fall asleep because of that or something like that.
Yeah, that's a really good example. Like, oh, why can't I fall asleep? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? We say that statement a lot, right? What's wrong with me? What's wrong? I do that too all the time. And I think the more I learn about mindfulness, the more I have learned to just accept my emotions, accept my thoughts. This is what it is. This is how I feel right now. I'm going to notice it. I'm going to pay attention to it. I'm going to be aware of it. And then just come back to the present. Okay. So a lot of times when we think of mindfulness, I feel like at least before last year, I would think of breathing, like mindful breathing. Pay attention to your breath. Do you guys, in your classes, when you guys did that, did you do mindful breathing exercises a lot?
Yep.
Yeah. So I feel like that's the first go-to thing. Like when we teach mindfulness, people say mindful breathing. Did any of you do any other types of mindfulness?
Mine was kind of like, it was kind of like you did with the polar bear. It wasn't where it was like, don't think about the polar bear, but it was like, think about the ocean and the waves crashing on the sand or whatever. And for some reason, I would get really distracted. Like it could be so quiet and I'll just get distracted like automatically. I don't know why, but
yeah, it's so hard to be in the present moment, right? I feel distracted too, to be honest. And maybe what we can do now, I want to tell you something about mindfulness, and I want to tell you that mindfulness can actually be a practice that we use throughout our entire day. Any type of thing we do, we can be mindful about it. Now, you can't be mindful all the time. So for example, if you're sitting in front of your TV and you're munching on a bag of potatoes and you're eating, watching a show, let's say Friends or Grey's Anatomy, as you guys mentioned, and all of a sudden, before you know it, your chip bag is empty. Were you being mindful in that moment?
No.
No, you were not at all paying attention, right? You were not at all present. You were not at all paying attention. So we are so used to doing things so quickly. If we're going somewhere, boop, 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 run, walk. If we're eating, just put it in your mouth, eat, right? Whatever we do it so quickly that we forget to actually be present and enjoy the things that we're doing, right? So I wanted to tell you guys that we can practice mindfulness for like a minute here, a minute there, 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there throughout our day, okay? And I have 3 different practices for us, but I am aware of time and maybe we won't be able to do all 3 of them. But we can get started with a quick mindful breathing one because that's just something that I feel like usually people do. And then we can go into the other couple exercises. Okay? All right. Let go of anything you might be holding. And if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. Find a comfortable position in your chair. Make sure your feet are flat on the floor. Your back is straight, but not too stiff. Your shoulders are relaxed. Your facial muscles are relaxed. Your hands are resting comfortably on your thighs or on your lap. Now I want you to take a deep breath through your nose and let the breath come out through your mouth so that you can hear it like a soft sigh. Try to make the out breath slow and long. Do this 2 to 3 more times to help you relax. Deep breath and make sure you're listening to the sound of the breath coming out. Let your breath move into and out of your nostrils soundlessly, and just pay attention to the in-breath and the out-breath. There's only one thing to do right now. Feel the breath move. Notice the sensations of breathing. If you notice your mind wandering elsewhere, that's okay. Just notice it. And then gently focus your attention back to your breath. So if you're distracted, if you have other thoughts coming up, that's okay. Just notice it and then bring your attention back to the breath. Now pay attention to the in-breath and the out-breath for a few more seconds until you hear the sound of the chimes that I will play. Oh no. Okay, well, we can open our eyes. My chime is not working through Zoom. Sorry about that, but we can open our eyes. Did you guys notice anything? Did you notice any thoughts? Did you notice anything about, yes? Samuel, I think, right?
Yeah. I realized that when everything is quiet, you notice every little sound.
Yep.
You notice everything. Like I can like it just things that you never notice, you notice it now.
Exactly. And that's exactly a part of mindfulness, right? Being aware of your surroundings, being aware of the present. What else did you guys notice? Were you able to bring your attention back to the breath, or did you kind of get lost in the noise around you?
I also want to say that when I did that, you sounded exactly like my mindfulness teacher that I had. Like you said, when the breath when the like distractions come, just let them go and focus on your breathing again. It worked, but like that exact thing that whole thing that we just did sounded literally exactly what my teacher used to sound like.
Was it cringy?
It wasn't cringy. It's just like funny how I thought about that, you know?
That is funny. So you noticed the thought, right? The thought came to your mind that, oh, she sounds like my teacher. That's a thought that came. So you were aware of your thought, right? Were you able to bring it back to the breath?
Yes.
Cool. And it's okay if you weren't, just curious. Okay, I think Emily is raising her hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I also was able to bring it back to the breath and not really be distracted.
That's really cool. Good job, guys. So that's one thing, right? Being mindfully aware of the breath. Were you able to hear the sound of the breath coming in and out? Were you able to notice it kind of like going down your going through your nostrils into your body?
Yes.
Yeah, it's really cool, at least for me. to notice the little things that my body does when I'm breathing.
Hannah, question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
So at first you said, listen to the breath, right? And then did you say, I thought you said, now do not breathe in and breathe out without any noise. Did you say that? Because I found myself doing that because I thought you said it. And that's what I was surprised with, the fact that I had never noticed the absence of noise when I was breathing. So I tried to breathe in, breathe out without any noise. And
did I say that?
I don't know, that's what I heard. And I was surprised because then I started noticing, the way my body felt when, the air would enter it and then leave it.
That's a good, yeah, I did say soundlessly. You're right.
Soundlessly,
Yes, you are right. So I guess sometimes we go, I guess that's not what we wanted. We wanted to just feel the breath go inside the body.
It was my first time experiencing breathing without actually being able to hear it.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. How was that experience for you, Shervin?
It was amazing.
I guess it was just an awareness thing, right? Being more aware and paying attention to our body. And we breathe all day, every day. And we still don't notice these things, right? Like there's so many things we don't notice. Okay. With the next, Shervin, how long do I have?
Until 8, and then people are free to go or stay.
All right, cool. Let's do another activity.
Until then, they are free to go as well, but
Right. Let's do another activity. I don't know if Shervin told you guys, did you grab your, a piece of fruit or chocolate or something? Perfect. I'm going to quickly go grab mine and then be back. Make sure everyone has a piece of fruit or chocolate or something in their hand, okay? And I will be right back.
Can we see what you guys have? But that's a weird looking fruit, Brianna.
I mean, it's not fruit, but you said something, and this is like the piece of, it's as small as a fruit, so I figured it would work.
Okay. Lillian, what is that? Is that an apple?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. How about everyone else? What else what do you guys have? Let's see. Emily A. What do you have? What is that?
I have Lava Shack.
Oh, Emily A. Is that what you have? Lava Shack?
Yeah.
That's my favorite. Samuel, how about you?
I couldn't think of anything better, so I got a cashew.
Okay, very good. You know that joke, right? Knock knock. Who's there? Cashew. No thanks. I'll have a peanut.
She asked us to eat our fruit or chocolate. Brianna's gonna have a hard time eating what she has.
Why is that? Why?
Because
yeah. You got a bounty.
Oh, that's okay. We can I can tell you what to do with that instead. Okay. So can we share what we have? I have a little piece of blueberry. Awesome. Very cool. I love it. Love all your stuff. Okay, great. Fantastic. And even those who don't have your cameras on, I hope you're doing it with us. So I want you to, again, sit comfortably. And I want you to focus on this item as if you have never, ever in your life seen it. You've never seen this. Imagine you've arrived here from a completely different planet, and this item is completely new. Look at it with curiosity, okay? Take it in your hand, turn it around, be aware of what you're seeing, the shape, the texture, the color, the size, the temperature, how hard it is, how soft it is. If you notice that you're thinking about something else, thoughts like, why are we doing this? This is stupid. This is so silly. Just notice the thoughts. That's okay. You can have those thoughts, notice them, and then bring your attention back to this object. Now, be aware of your arm movement as you bring the item close to your nose, okay? Bring it close to your nose, and I want you to smell it. Smell it. Smell it like you've never smelled it before. Okay? And now, if it is an edible object, if not, don't do this. If it's an edible object, I want you to put it on your tongue. Don't eat it, just put it on your tongue. And if it is not an edible object, play with it, make sure you're feeling it, observe it, okay? Okay, so put it on your tongue, but don't chew it or swallow it. Notice all the sensations. So how it feels like on your tongue, did the temperature change? Make sure you're noticing all of this, okay? Don't take a bite. Just notice it. Turn it around in your mouth. Notice how it feels like on your mouth, on your tongue. Take note of what you notice, okay? When you're ready, take one bite, but don't swallow. Just take one bite. Again, notice the taste. Notice if the texture changes. Notice any sensations in your mouth. Now, very slowly, very, very slowly, chew. Very slowly chew as you continue to pay attention. And when you're ready, you can swallow. Okay. What were some things you noticed about this object that you hadn't noticed before?
My object, it was very smooth.
What did you have?
I had a cashew, but it was only half of a cashew, like down the middle. But the inner half was very, very smooth, and I never really noticed that.
Very good. What did you guys notice anything new about the color, the texture, the smell?
Can I say something about like I didn't eat it, like it's not a edible, but can I just say something that's like
Absolutely, of course.
so it was, I mean, it used to be just like a regular like ball, but like I noticed that it's like really soft. Like I don't know why, but it just got like soft. Because I didn't really notice that before, but like now I noticed that.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you noticed things about the ball that before it was just a ball, right? But now you're noticing little things about it. Anyone else? Yeah.
It felt like it was so huge and humongous. It was just what is it called? A golden fish. Goldfish, yeah. Right. But, it was interesting that because all of my attention was on it, it just seemed so magnificent and valuable.
Yeah. I had a blueberry, and the first bite that I took felt so satisfying because I could really taste the sweet taste of it after having it in my mouth without chewing for a while. It was like, oh, that was so sweet. Anyone else?
I had a norashkar, and like these things are bomb, but I had never really actually like smelled a norashkar before. And they like literally smells like earth. Like it actually smells like fresh earth.
Wow.
I know that sounds crazy to think, but it actually, honestly, like it was like oh, this actually like smells like, it sounds so exaggerative, but like life. Like it smells like fresh. Yeah.
That's awesome. So guys, do you think we can do this all the time when we eat? Like, real question.
We would annoy people around us, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, Emily or Samuel, go ahead.
I feel like my parents would think that I would be weird because I'm taking forever to take a bite.
Absolutely, I agree. Emily?
Yeah, I feel like everyone would just get annoyed and say like, hurry up, we want to go.
Yeah, very true. Brianna?
I feel like like my parents would be like, "Are you okay? Like, is there something wrong with the food or something?" And I'd be like, "No, I learned something in church where if you smell it, like, you really like." And people were like, "What? What is this church do?"
Yeah, totally. Okay, and then we have another one. Sorry, your names go away when forgot the name. Sorry, the raise hand.
I think it's me.
Lillian, yes, sorry.
I was gonna say, I don't think we could do this because, for example, I feel like when we eat, a lot of the time we're kind of in a rush to do things. Like at school, we have a certain time period we have until we have to get to class, so we have to finish our food. So we just like try to eat and then run to class. So I don't think time would work. And also, if it's something hot, it would probably get cold. But yeah.
That's so true. And I agree with you guys 100%. And I think the point of this isn't to have you guys do this all the time. We would never get through our day if we did this all the time, right? What the point is mindfulness is kind of like we're trying, our mind is a muscle, and we're trying to train our muscle. And it's really, really hard right now for us to really pay attention to our surroundings. Really, when you're walking down the street, as you see all these pictures, mindfulness can be in all sorts of ways. As you're walking down the street, instead of walk, let's dedicate 1 minute in the walk to do it mindfully. As you're walking, pay attention to your feet on the ground, pay attention to the sounds you hear, pay attention. What are the 5 senses? Yes, just open your mic and say it.
Oh, someone go. It was touch, smell, feel, taste, and hear.
Absolutely. Pay attention to all 5 senses. What do you hear? Do you taste anything in your mouth? Do you smell anything? Do you see anything? How do your feet feel on the ground? When you're eating, we don't want to do this every single time, but maybe with a tiny little snack once a day. Try to practice 1 minute of mindfulness with the snack. Or another thing we have is, we were going to do another activity with ice cubes. You can put like ice cubes on your hand and watch it melt. Pay attention to how it feels on your skin. It starts burning, okay? And just pay attention to the feeling in your hand. Pay attention to the color of your skin changing. Pay attention to how it melts, the water, and all these things. My point is, we can be mindful for 1 minute a day. Just 1 minute, 30 seconds, 2 minutes, okay? You can dedicate a little bit of time to be mindful with all the things that you do. What else do you guys think you can be mindful about? What other activity can you be mindful when you're doing for like a minute? Yeah, Emily.
It's not really like an activity, but like I guess like before you speak, because you could say something you don't mean to say.
Yeah, pay attention to, yeah, exactly. What else? Yes, Brianna.
Painting.
Yes, the smell, the colors, the movement in your hands. Absolutely. Shervin.
I think we may have done another mindfulness exercise tonight, Anna.
What is that?
When we started off, would you say that it was a mindfulness exercise when we asked everyone how they were feeling on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, we were present with our feelings. Absolutely. I was like, this is Sherman, that's great. Yeah, I loved it. Absolutely. We were present with our feelings and how we feel. We were aware of our feelings. Absolutely. Anything we do, guys, just brushing your teeth, washing your hands, walking down the street, opening your locker, anything we do, we can do it mindfully for a short period of time. And I think the more we do it, I'm going to try to end with this. I still had a bunch of other slides, but I'm just going to end with this. I really have come to learn that by being mindful, by learning to be mindful, it has helped me be present with God and present with others as well. What do I mean by that? In the beginning, Shervin asked, when have you felt distant with God? And I've noticed that, like many of you, when I'm stressed, when I'm anxious, when I have a lot of schoolwork going on, I feel distant with God. And the times where I felt, wow, I really feel God's presence for me has been through nature. And how is when I become present in nature and I notice the little petals on the flower, like really, really pay attention to the details of one tiny piece of creation. And automatically I'm like, wow, God, you are fantastic. You know, I have felt myself feel present with God through practices of mindfulness. And another part of our ministry as Christians, I think, first, being present with God, allowing the Holy Spirit to reign in us, and second, being present with one another. And I think this group is a great place we can do that. When you're with other people, how can we be present with each other? We can validate each other's we can validate each other's feelings. We can empathize. We can really listen to what the other person's saying. We can just be there for them. A lot of times when we talk to friends, we just talk so that we give our opinions and our ideas. No, just be present with them. Just listen, just, be there for them. And I think Shervin and I have had a conversation about this, and I struggle with this too sometimes. Sometimes we're so excited that we forget to be present with the person we're standing in front of. And I think this is a practice that we can all incorporate in our lives that will help us become better children of God, better Christians, brothers and sisters to people around us. By noticing God's creation, by noticing the little things, by being present, that can automatically, I'll just go to the next point, automatically make us be more grateful of the things that we have. Be more grateful and present with God. I know our time is up, so I'm gonna close here. I just towards the end, I had a bunch of other resources available for you guys. So if any of you need help, there's a bunch of apps you can use. There is websites available. There are, if you want to seek therapy, psychologytoday.com is the great place to start. You can tell Shervin to give you my phone number. You can contact me and I can try to find you. You can do different relaxation techniques like breathing, use temperature. Temperature really, really helps. By the way, if you're stressed out, like taking a cold shower or putting an ice pack on your shoulders or your neck, changing your body's temperature really helps regulate you. And I'm going to end with this last verse. So we started with the verse, do not be anxious. But I want to read the beginning and the ending of that verse, okay? God doesn't just say, don't be anxious. What God actually says is, what the author actually says is, rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say rejoice. Let your gentleness be known to everyone. The Lord is near. Do not worry about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your mind in Christ Jesus. And this is kind of similar to what Lillian was saying. God doesn't just say, don't be anxious. God says, I am here. Be present with me. The Lord is near, right? I am here. I am with you. Be thankful. Notice the little things and be thankful. And through these practices, through being thankful, through noticing God's presence, God will give you peace in your heart that will surpass all understanding. Okay? So it was really helpful for me to differentiate that and realize that God isn't saying, just don't be anxious, just don't worry. He's saying, no, I'm present with you. I am here. And I think the more we learn to be present with God, to be present with creation, to be present with our surroundings, to be mindful, the more we'll start to appreciate the little things and be more grateful for them. And hopefully that will help in our anxiety as well.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Sorry, I ran 10 minutes late.
A round of virtual applause for our amazing Anna. Thank you for the time that you took and shared your knowledge and your experience with us about mindfulness. And the book that is the most highlighted in Kindle is the Bible, and the passage that is the most highlighted and the most highlighted by book in Kindle is Philippians 4. Wow. And the reason is people are struggling with anxiety. And so this tool that you gave us, mindfulness, is going to bless us. And I'm sure you're going to bless so many others on your journey. So God bless you.
Thank you all.
And you know, I love how open you are to anybody who may have any questions.
Yeah.
You know, can reach out to Anna. Let me know, and you can, in fact, you know, if they don't want to go through me, is it okay if you put your phone number here?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, of
You know?
course. I can write and right now I know you guys have to leave, but if anyone wants to stay and ask any questions, I'm still here. You can do that. But yeah, thank you for this opportunity to share with you guys. I know some of you already knew about mindfulness, but I hope that you were able to take a little something away with you.
Thank you.
If you want to stay, I would love to hear what a little takeaway was. But if you have to go, that's completely fine.
Okay, so let's go ahead and close with a prayer. Lillian, would you close us with a prayer?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for another day on this planet and for all of us being able to once again come together and learn more about you and also learn more about our own lives and how we can have some control over it and in our decisions, and that those decisions will impact our relationship with you. I pray and I thank you for blessing Anna with her words and being able to speak to others about these things that I feel like most people don't notice or realize or are too afraid to talk about. And I just pray that, you know, what she said like sticks with us so we can continue to do these mindful exercises, because I noticed myself, I never really paid attention to my breathing or eating or things like that to the point that we did today. And I feel like it's really eye-opening because it shows how just taking a few minutes out of our day can really change our whole mindset and our relationship with you and overall just how we are and how we treat others, because it can not only benefit our bodies but also our relationship with God. And I just pray and I thank you once again, and I pray that all of us can have a wonderful week and to stay safe and healthy, and of course to be mindful. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
And thank you, Lillian. What a beautiful prayer.
Thanks again, Anna, and thank you, Christina, for joining us. I've got a feeling you're going to be next on the hot seat, so get ready. All right, guys. Anna,
Thank you all.
made you the host.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to leave. But anybody who wants to stick around and talk to Anna, you're more than welcome to do so.
Servant, I have a question.
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What time is tomorrow's picnic?
11 a.m. Guys, if there's anyone who doesn't know about picnic tomorrow, it's 11 a.m. at the Honolulu Park. So
what time does it end? At 3?
Yes, 3, 4.
Okay,
thank you. Thank you, Anna. Bye.
Bye. It was so good meeting you all.
Good meeting you too. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Shervin, really quick, wasn't it at Memorial Park?
No. So it's going to be at the Honolulu Park. So I'll send the address to everyone.
The one we had last time?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay. Bye, guys.
Bye. So Anna, I don't know how I can stop paying attention to my breathing now. That's all I'm thinking about. All I think about is my breathing in and out. How do I stop it? I'm too.
Don't think about it.
Yes. Yes.
Stop Chinese breathing. Just keep breathing. You want to shot the beach? Keep breathing.
All right, guys.
Man, I miss you guys.
Come on down. Where are you?
I'm at home.
Come on down.
2 more weeks.
Oh,
2 more weeks.
Okay, 2 more weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So good to see you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Shervin.
That was such an amazing one lesson.
Thank you. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
Sure. Bye.